Time to break the record, baby.
Is this necessary or just drama?
If you've been told you need to train to failure, but you're sitting there like, okay, but do I absolutely need to murder myself on the leg press every single week? This video is for you. Here's the thing. A lot of women are working hard in the gym. They're sweating, they're showing up, they're checking the box, but they're still not seeing the muscle definition that they want because their sets are not actually close enough to proper failure to tell their muscle, hey, we need to grow.
And this is why you can be showing up to the gym, doing all of the workouts, sweating through your leggings, and still feel like, why do I not look like I work out?
The confusing part is that your strength training can feel really hard while still not being hard enough for muscle growth. I've coached women through this exact shift from random workouts and feeling sweaty and productive, but not knowing if it's actually working, to structured strength training that actually builds that strong, lean, toned, defined physique.
Today, I'm going to show you what training to failure actually means. I'll give you a simple check to know if you're training with the right intensity, how to make the most out of the time that you're spending in the gym, and stop wasting time with workouts that feel productive but are actually holding you back from seeing that tone defined physique.
Before we talk about how to tell if you're actually close to failure, we need to define what failure actually is, because not all failure is created equal. So what does training to failure actually mean? Training to failure does not mean that you got sweaty or that the set felt spicy. It's not because you're out of breath, the exercise is uncomfortable, the burn is loud, or because your lungs are at max capacity.
There really are three types that we care about. The first is muscular failure. This is when the muscle that you're training physically cannot complete another rep with good control.
So if you're doing a leg extension, muscular failure would mean that your quads are so fatigued that you literally cannot straighten your legs for another full rep, even though your form is locked in and you're trying your absolute hardest. Muscular failure is when you go to squeeze your quads to pull that weight up and you get maybe halfway up and then it just pauses and it becomes an isometric pause and you're unable to pull it up any higher even though you're trying your absolute max. That's true muscular fatigue, and that is what we're looking for.
Then the second type of failure is technical failure. This is when you could maybe move the weight up again, but only by compensating through the rep.
For example, instead of using your quads to pull the weight up on a leg extension, now you're throwing your hips up, you're grabbing the handles like your life depends on it, you're swinging the weight, shortening the range of motion, or doing some weird full body like hip thrust to get the weight up. That's not muscular failure, that's your form tapping out into compensating.
Or if you're doing RDLs and now your lower back has entered the chat more than your glutes or your hamstrings, you're done. That is technical failure. True failure and technical failure are close cousins, but technical failure is usually the smarter stopping point for most exercises, especially those big, heavy compound lifts. For most people, if your goal is building muscle safely and effectively, technical failure is where the set should stop. Because once your technique falls apart, you're no longer training the muscle well. You're just moving the weight however you can with momentum or other forms of compensation, but you're not getting any extra benefit to the muscle that you're trying to train. And an experienced lifter knows how to get muscular failure before technical failure. And then the third form of failure is what I call cardio failure or systemic failure.
This is when your lungs, your heart rate, or your overall conditioning gives out before the target muscle that you're trying to train does. For example, if you're doing squats and you stop because you're gasping for air, you're dizzy, and maybe you're questioning every life choice that brought you to that point, but your glutes and your quads could have done more, that's not really muscular failure. That's your conditioning and your cardio abilities limiting the set.
And this matters because if your goal is muscle growth, we want the target muscle to be the thing that gets challenged the most. Not your lungs, not your grip, not your lower back. So when I say train close to failure, I don't mean take every set until your form is looking sloppy, till you're out of breath and red in the face and looking to puke. When I say train close to failure, I mean that you want to get close to the point where your target muscle that you're trying to train and grow cannot do any more clean, controlled reps where that target muscle is in control. That's the goal. If you're training hard, it's so normal for you to sweat and breathe hard and feel fatigued. But the important distinction is that sweat and effort do not mean or guarantee that you are at muscular failure. So on a dumbbell shoulder press, true failure might be when you try to press the dumbbells up and they just don't go, even though you're giving real max effort. Or on a hamstring curl, it might be when you try to curl the pad down and it doesn't move. On a lateral raise, it might be when you can't lift the dumbbells to the target height without turning it into a full body thrust. That's also failure. This is why just train hard is not enough, because a beginner hears that and thinks, okay, just suffer more. But no, there's really truly no trophy for looking emotionally unwell. We want productive effort. Research on reps in reserve, or RIR, shows that people tend to overestimate their proximity to failure, just meaning that they think that they're training at a 10 out of 10 effort, but in reality, their muscle says it's only a 6 out of 10 effort. Training close to true muscular failure is a skill, but it does improve with training experience.
And you are not broken if you're not good at it right now. You're just uncalibrated. And that is such an important reframe. The limiting belief is, I'm weak, I'm bad at lifting, everyone's judging me. But the truth and the reframe is, I'm just learning how to measure effort. You're building the skill of knowing the difference between discomfort and actual muscular limitation, because discomfort, it shows up early. Failure shows up a lot later.
Now that we know the difference between muscular failure, technical failure, and cardio failure, the next question is, how do you actually know when you're getting close to the right kind of failure? Because most people don't need to just train harder randomly. They need to learn what training hard enough actually looks like. So let's start with the easiest way to tell if you are actually close to muscular failure.
At the beginning of a set, you have the most energy. So your first rep should feel smooth, controlled, pretty consistent. Not rush, not sloppy, just strong and clean. But as you keep going, your muscles start to fatigue. And as your muscle fibers start to fatigue, your body has to work harder and harder to keep producing the same amount of force. That's when the lifting part of the exercise, the part where you're actually moving the weight, should naturally start to slow down. So for example, if you're doing a leg extension, the first few reps might come up pretty smoothly. But by rep 8, 9, 10, if you're using an appropriate amount of weight and actually getting close to true muscular failure, those last few reps should look slower, harder, and grindier. But here's the important part. Slower does not mean uglier. It's not throwing our weight around, balancing the weight, half repping, or turning the leg extension into a full body movement.
Your form should still look controlled. The weight just moves slower because your muscles are closer to their limit. That's the difference between a challenging rep and a messy, sloppy rep. We want challenging, not chaotic. So here's your simple check. If every rep looks the exact same speed from rep 1 to rep 12, you definitely had more reps in the tank. But if the last few reps slow down, your form stays solid, you're probably getting close. But if your form completely falls apart, you went too far.
Close enough to failure means that your body has been given a strong enough stimulus or a message, a reason for your body to adapt and grow some muscle, but actually controlled enough that you're training the muscle instead of just surviving the rep with crappy form and getting sweaty.
Now this is important. Rep speed does not mean purposefully lifting slowly from rep 1. We do not need to turn every rep into a dramatic, slow motion Baywatch trailer.
The slowdown at the end should happen naturally because the muscle is fatigued, not because you decided to make a 10-pound dumbbell feel like 100 pounds.
The goal is the same form, the same control, but those last few reps just naturally slow down because the muscle's working near to its limit. That's where that good stimulus that tells your body to build muscle actually lives.
Now that you know what failure is and you know rep speed is one of the easiest ways to spot when you're getting close, the next question is, do I need to train every exercise, every set to failure, every day?
This is where a lot of people get confused. Some people think that every single set needs to be taken to absolute failure, where the weight literally will not move another single inch. But then other people stop the second that sets start to feel uncomfortable and they call it listening to their body, or that they don't want to get bulky.
And here's the thing, neither extreme is the sweet spot.
Most of the time, you do not need to take every single set to complete muscular failure to build muscle. But you also can't stop every set with 5, 6, 7 reps in the tank and expect your body to transform into that defined toned physique. What we're looking for is that productive middle ground where the set's hard enough to create that change, but also controlled enough that your form is still solid and you can still recover from it. A really helpful target is ending most working sets with about 1 to 3 reps left in the tank before that true muscular failure. You'll also hear this called RIR, which stands for reps in reserve. RIR is just simply a measure of how close you are to true muscular failure. If you finish a set and you truly could not do another single clean rep, that is 0 reps in reserve. If you could do 1 more clean rep, then that's 1 rep in reserve. A measure of 2 RIR, or 2 reps in reserve, means that you could do 2 more reps if you absolutely had to, but they would be slow and spicy. And after that second rep, you would be toast and at failure. Training in the 1 to 3 RIR, where you're only 1 to 3 reps away from muscular failure, that's the zone that we're looking for. That's usually a really great place to be for muscle growth. Not easy, but not reckless. It's close enough that your muscle is challenged, but not so far that every set becomes soul-sucking. So quick recap so far. Training to failure means that the muscle literally cannot complete another clean rep. Rep speed should naturally slow down near the end of a hard set. Feeling tired and sweaty is not the same thing as training at or near failure for muscle growth. And most of your muscle building sets should be close to failure, not I did 12 reps because the workout said 12. At the end of your set, I want you to ask, how many clean reps did I truly have left? Could I have done 1 more, 5 more, 10 more? Or right around here is where a lot of women realize, oh, my workouts might feel hard because I'm stressed from work, I'm getting sweaty, I'm burning calories, but the actual workout may not be hard enough for my muscle to get the memo to actually grow. So if you want to see exactly what this looks like inside real workouts, I have a free toning video guide linked below that walks you through the basics of not only how to train for that tone defined look, but also the nutrition needed to build that lean defined physique. I'll drop that link in the description below. So now that we've covered what failure is, how rep speed helps you spot it, and how close to failure you actually need to train, let's make this super practical. That's where this checklist comes in. This is the exact mental checklist that you can run to make sure you're getting the most out of the time that you're spending in the gym. That's how you go from just doing workouts and sweating, but not seeing a lot of progress, to actually training and transforming your body. Number 1, I want you to ask yourself, did my last few reps slow down? If no, you probably had more reps left. Number 2, did my target muscle feel like it was limiting the set? Not my cardio, not my grip, the actual muscle. Number 3, could I have done more than 3 clean reps? If yes, the set was too easy for muscle growth. You need more reps or probably more weight. Number 4, did my form stay mostly consistent? If your form fell apart significantly, stop there. That's a technical failure issue. We want to fix that. A little bit of a setback or pullback is totally okay, but we don't want it to be anything crazy. Number 5, am I tracking my progress? If you don't track it, we're just exercising, which isn't bad, but if you've got specific goals you're working towards, you need something specific to get you there. The goal is to complete the reps with enough challenge that your body has a reason to adapt. That's progressive overload. Progressive overload means gradually increasing the demand on your muscles over time. So that could be more weight, more reps, better control, a larger range of motion, better connection to the target muscle, less momentum, more stability, more total volume over time. Something has to progress, because if you've been using the same 10-pound dumbbells for the same 12 reps with the same form and the same effort level for the last 6 months, your body has already adapted to that. And this is where training starts to feel empowering instead of random, because now you're not walking into the gym thinking, I hope this works, or I have no idea what I'm doing. You're thinking, I know what muscles I'm training. I know what failure should feel like. I know what to adjust next time. That is how you build confidence in the gym, not by knowing every exercise on the planet, not by doing the fanciest workout, but by understanding what your workouts are supposed to accomplish. Now, let's apply this. Say you're doing a dumbbell Romanian deadlift. You pick up 25-pound dumbbells and do 10 reps. The first rep is smooth, and the 10th rep is smooth, and you rack the weights because you hit the goal of
10 reps. That was probably not close to failure. So the next time you might use heavier dumbbells or keep the same weight and continue until your hamstrings or glutes are truly the limiting factor and your last rep slows down while your form stays good. Now, let's say you're doing extensions. Your goal is 3 sets of 12 reps. Rep 10 is slow, rep 11, slower, rep 12 is a grind. And you know that if you tried a rep 13, you'd either not get it up all the way or you'd have to have your whole body lean into it. That is close enough. The same goal, the same 12 reps, but a totally different stimulus. And this is why someone can spend 6 months working out and not look like they work out or see much progress, while someone else trains 3 days a week and starts looking stronger and more defined. It's not magic, it's not hormones, it's usually better execution both in the gym and the kitchen, because the same concept also applies to your nutrition. This is exactly the same kind of shift that this client made. She lost 15 pounds while training just 3 times a week, traveling for work, and still eating out on the weekends. It wasn't because she became a full-time fitness girly. It was because her workouts became intentional. Her nutrition matched her goal, and her workout and her sets actually started giving her body a reason to change while she was spending the exact same time in the gym as she was before. That's what we want. Not more random effort, but better, more intentional effort. So if there's one thing for you to take away from this video, it's this. Training to failure isn't about doing more random effort or killing yourself in the gym. It's having a plan where your training, your nutrition, your activity all point at that same goal. When those pieces line up, progress stops feeling like a fight and it really just starts to flow. Yes, it's definitely still work, but you zoom out 2, 3, 6 months and you see those steady results. If you feel stuck, it doesn't mean that your body's broken. I've been there, Hashimoto's and all, and my clients have been there too. The issue most times is just mismatched strategy. So if you want that personal week-to-week guidance, so you don't have to figure all this out on your own, click the link in the description to apply for one-to-one coaching. We customize everything, review it weekly, and support you every step from training, nutrition, even mindset with our on-staff therapist. If this video helped you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. And if you have any questions or comments, drop them below. I try to answer every single one. And if you want to continue learning more, you can check out this video up in the right-hand corner, which is a full in-depth walkthrough of how to progressive overload and get stronger in the gym without sacrificing your form or ego lifting.